People only see what happens on fight night. They see the glitz, the glamour, the knockouts, the happiness, the laughs, everything. That's all they see.
Hamzah Sheeraz, WBC Silver, WBC International and Commonwealth Middleweight Champion.
You don't really care about your brand. You're just building you, and your main focus is your boxing. But what you got to understand is boxing now is more a business than it actually is a sport.
But how hard is it to get to the top level?
The percentage-wise of boxers who actually make millions and have a good lifestyle of boxing is like 10%. Out of that 10%, 2% go clear. That's how small the margins are in this sport.
And sometimes things can get heated outside of the ring. Hamzah's in it to get his name out there. Using Amir Khan's.
That's how the majority are looking at it.
Exactly.
90%, 99% are looking at that. But the truth of the matter is, bro, is...
What's going on, people? Welcome back to the CEOCAST, the #1 podcast in the world for showcasing business and entrepreneurship. Now today, you lot join me on a different episode in the sports field. I'm with a good friend joined with Hamzah Sheeraz. Hamzah, what's happening, bro?
Raheem, I'm good, bro. How are you?
I'm very good, man. It's a pleasure to sit you down in the podcast. We done one earlier on, early doors of CEOCAST, which you told me to remove. So I was like, all right, safe. We'll do one in the future, and here we are now.
Yeah, now here we are at Bermondsey Boxing Club, where I come and do the last few weeks of my camp. And the reason why I told you to remove the other one, there's no substance behind it, bro. It's just like the first time, what is it? How many years ago was it?
That was in 2020.
Yeah.
So that was in lockdown.
Yeah,
we didn't do a podcast in lockdown.
No, I won my first title then.
Yeah.
And I was still green. I am still green now, but I've got a lot more to talk about now.
So what was the record then?
Record then was, bro, I think 10-0. I think 10-0 I won my first title, which was a European title at light middleweight. And here we are today, WBC Silver, Commonwealth, and WBC International I've won at a weight above middleweight now. So yeah, man.
I know you got more accolades than that, so go on, keep naming them.
Yeah, that's it. I've got I had the European at light middle. Then I moved up to 160 and I won the WBC Silver. I won the WBC International and I just won the Commonwealth title as well. So yeah, I've got the top, I think 5 ranking with the WBC. And I'm on my way to stardom, bro. Yeah,
no, truthfully speaking as well, the podcast we done back then, the questions I had for you probably weren't so great at the time.
Yeah.
But I think looking at it now, this is why I wanted to get you on, because there's a lot of expenses behind being a boxer. You know, in a world where everyone wants to dream, you probably get loads of people looking up to you for inspiration, saying, I want to be the next Hamzah Sheeraz.
Yeah.
But they don't know it costs this much for that, this. They probably just think, you get a fight, you get paid.
Yeah.
Sort of thing. They don't know anything else, right?
Yeah.
So I want to dive more so into that. And also the fact that, there's a bit of a beef going on right now between you and another boxer in the game, so we'll get into that later on.
Yeah, no worries.
But Hamzah, chat to me, man. Where did it all start for you? How old are you now? Before we get into it, make sure you subscribe and set the bell notification to all so you never miss a single episode.
I am 23 now, bro. 23. I started boxing when I was 8 years old. Yeah. Turned pro and on my 18th birthday.
Yeah. So a whole 10 years later.
A whole 10 years later. It's been a hell of a journey.
How many amateur fights did you have?
I had amateur fights. I had 100. 100 or just over, or just under 100. I lost about 13, 14 of them. Went to loads of national England camps, training camps. 17, I stopped amateur boxing because I was meant to get picked for the Commonwealth Games. I didn't end up getting picked for whatever reason. Then I just got a bit disheartened, bro. And then had a year, I think I had a year off. And then, like I said, on my 18th birthday, signed my contract.
Fair enough. So what was your school life like then? Because obviously I know you went to school around the corner from me.
Yeah, Valentine's. School life was all right. I wasn't the most academic kid to say. I done my GCSEs and I done my first year A-levels. I passed both of them. But one subject I could never get over was maths, bro. I always failed my maths. Numbers couldn't sit with me, man. I was all about punching people in the face.
Would you say your educational life has helped any way, shape or form in your boxing career?
Educational, I would say no. Say no.
Obviously, I know it seems like quite obvious. All you got to do is punch someone in the face. But there's got to be, for example, maths day, you probably got to have a nutritionist writing your calories and all this and all of that.
Yeah, no, listen, no. Academically, no. But the experiences I had in school, the experiences of learning how to respect your teachers, learning how to chat to certain people, learning how to deal with certain situations have definitely helped me. Helped me, and still help me to this day. But yeah, academically, no, not at all really, because you got me. Boxing is a very, very simple sport in terms of inside the ring. It's extremely simple, But outside the ring is where it gets complicated, in terms of like having a team, in terms of managing contracts, in terms of dealing with, like you said, finances and getting investments behind you to be able to do certain things.
Fair enough. I want to just touch on one thing right there, yeah? You said you had a year off because you were disheartened.
Yeah.
So what did you do in that year? Were you lazing around at home or like what was the situation like for you?
No, it wasn't that, because I've always been someone who needs to be working, When I don't work, I feel lost. I feel like I'm a man of routine. So when I'm not in routine, I feel a bit lost. And what did I do? I had about 2 weeks off. Then I remember doing an electrical apprenticeship.
So what were you, about 16, 17?
I was 17 at this time, 17. Didn't get picked for the Commonwealth, got disheartened, and I thought, all right, I need to do something. I need to start earning money. I can't keep bumming around. And then got an electrical apprenticeship. Done that for about 7-8 months. 7-8 months. And then I remember my last day like it was yesterday. I remember working in Chelsea in an apartment, and one of the Chelsea football players, I was working in his apartment. Really nice apartment, bro. Like really, really nice.
Name drop.
I don't know who the player was. I forgot the name. I forgot his name.
You're an Arsenal fan anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
So I don't expect you to know.
Yeah. No, but I remember I was there and I was fixing. It was a socket I was fixing, yeah. And I remember looking around and I think, how am I doing his work for him? Do you know what I mean? How am I doing all this for him, man? And I remember looking at my boss at the time and I said, listen, this is it. I'm done. I'm not coming in tomorrow. I'm finished. And then that was my last day.
What did he say?
No, he was cool with it. because I wasn't under contract or anything with him.
Okay.
He was a bit like, okay, do you know what I mean?
Did he know you're a boxer as well?
Yeah. And I told him, I'm going to get back to it. I'm going to get back to it. And then...
So did he give you any like moral encouragement, support? Or
No, he didn't care, bro. He was like, on your bike, off you go. Yeah. And
so
then,
he weren't even like, oh, I'm going to look out for your journey and all that sort of stuff?
No, it was nothing like that. It was straight off. It's cutthroat, innit? Yeah. And then I was on my bike. I went and then literally the next few days, I was back in the gym. I just went back in the gym and I felt lost. Without it, I felt lost. And when I went back in the gym, I was like, this is what I'm born to do. This is what I'm destined to do. And alhamdulillah, like thanks to Allah, bro, I managed to get a pro contract. And through being a sparring partner for another fighter at the time, another pro fighter, and then my talent got recognised, and then here we are today.
Who was that fighting partner?
There's a fighter called Boy Jones Jr. I think he's retired now. He was a good fighter. Young at the time, he was young. He was like 19, and I was quite light then as well. So I was sparring and helping him for his fights. And his manager, who's my manager now, Andy Ailing, he signed me up on my 18th birthday. And promotion-wise, I'm with Frank Warren.
So Frank Warren, when you signed with Andy, was that when you also signed with Frank Warren as well?
Yeah. So Andy's my manager and Frank Warren's my promoter.
Yeah.
So I signed that contract on my 18th birthday, I remember. And then 2 months later, after my birthday, I had my debut at the Copper Box Arena.
What was that feeling like, almost getting that recognition, being signed on the Frank Warren? Because that's a big promotional company.
Yeah, at the time, I wasn't a great amateur. And my amateur career wasn't like big. So no one like really knew who I was at the time because I was this up and coming kid. If you saw me at 18 years old, bro, I looked like a 10-year-old. Like no facial hair, really like skinny. I'm still skinny now, but I'm knocking people out now. There's a difference in it. But I remember, and I was there, signed my contract, and then like I said, after my debut, I got just a little bit of recognition, not a lot. And then from then I've just been building on it, and here we are, hopefully a few fights away from world title, inshallah.
Inshallah. Talk to me about your most recent fight.
Yep.
What was that like for you?
It was good, man. It was.
Because I was there. These like your friends were saying that, or my cousins as well. They were saying that, it's going to be a difficult fight.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I watched that fight from the side and I was like, you just walked all over him sort of thing. No disrespect to him. I don't know his name. He seemed like a good fighter and that, but you just...
It was good. It was a good fight, bro. Like, he was coming to win, obviously. Never been stopped like that before. And my preparation was it went spot on because obviously I train out in LA and come back here for the last 3 weeks. But my preparation was spot on. I felt great going into the fight. And that was it really, bro. That was about. I don't like to dwell on the performances too much, do you know what I mean? Because I know where I want to be and where I want to get to and what I want to win. So that's done now. On to the next.
This episode is sponsored by Fireaway Pizza, the fastest growing pizza company in the UK. With over 100 locations, you definitely have a store near you. The founder of Fireaway was on the show not too long ago, and you can get a slice of the action by using the discount code CEOCAST at fireaway.co.uk. Once again, use the discount code CEOCAST at fireaway.co.uk. Yeah, so this is what I want to say, realities of being a boxer, yeah? So like I said in the beginning, someone's probably looking at this thinking, I want to be the next Hamzah Sheeraz, let me get myself in a boxing camp, and hopefully that Frank Warren will, give me some papers to sign.
Yep.
Exactly like that. What's actually the reality of being a boxer?
Do you know what it is?
Because
yeah,
we've you know, from your boxing coach and
Yeah.
stuff like that, you might be looking at it like it's an easy path.
Yeah.
But it's probably not.
It's not. No, I'm glad you asked that question, bro, because the reality of people only see what happens on fight night. They see the glitz, the glamour, the knockouts, the smiles. Do you know what I mean? The happiness, the laughs, everything. That's all they see.
Yeah.
But like you said, the reality of it is, bro, like when I first turned pro and my first paychecks, even to this day now, to be honest with you, bro, I'm investing all in myself. And when I say investing in myself, not in a way where I'm making more money. So I'm investing in myself where I'm able to go to America and train, because it's not cheap. I'm able to go to America and train. I'm able to fund myself. And obviously now and recently I've been getting investors on board because I'm at a level where I'm just on the fringe of world level. So everything I do, my team and everything, it's all under a very professional manner. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, so at the start, step by step, let's go. At the start of my career, you don't get paid much. You're just, whatever you're getting, you're almost putting it into yourself to buy gloves, to buy food and everything. And yeah, not until about a few fights ago, I got a few investors on board that have allowed me to go to America. And on average, a camp in America costs around about 70 to 100 grand.
What?
That's
for one camp?
Yeah, for one camp.
So every time you're going to America or to LA, that's how much it's costing?
That's how much a camp is costing. That includes everything. That includes flights, that includes foods, that includes accommodation, that includes travel, that includes gym fees. And you remember out there, you're training in about 3 different gyms. One for boxing, one for strength and conditioning, and another one where they got like a sauna and steam just to go and chill and whatnot.
Yeah.
So all funds included, it's about 70 to 100 grand for a camp out in LA. And the reason why I'm willing to invest in myself and do that now is because I know where I want to be, and I know where I'm most comfortable, and that is in LA. Obviously, it is, if people look at it in terms of how a businessman looking at it, it's a gamble. It is a gamble because really and truly, you're not guaranteed to win a world title. Do you know what I mean? But that's how much belief my team and myself have in me, that I know that this is all, there's a reason behind. There's a method behind the madness, as I say.
So the same camp, if you used to do it in the UK, how much would it cost?
Probably not even, probably half that. Probably not even half. It'd be like, I'd say off the top of your head, a 8 to 10 week camp over here would cost you no more than about 20 grand tops.
So why do you go to America? Like, what's so special about training out in America?
Do you know what? It's a gym I train out over there, Tengoose Boxing Gym, is the main coach out there had just been inducted in the Hall of Fame. So he's a great coach, Joe Goosen. And my relationship with Ricky is, he was Joe Goosen's understudy. So his experience he's got is next to none. And plus everyone from around the world, all the world, like 90% of the world champions, all stem from LA training camps. They train in Freddie Roach's gym or whatever gym it may be. And you go there, you spar the best. You spar the best, you train with the best, and you're learning from the best. Do you know what I mean? So
the last time when we met in like 2020-ish, you were training in the UK.
I was here, yep.
Yeah. So that would have cost about, let's just say, 20 odd grand.
My camps, and they weren't really even camps like that, bro, because I was just training non-stop. Because I was training. What I'd do was I'd fight, and then I'd train again, and I'd fight, I'd train again, because the turnover would be like, wouldn't be a lot. It'd be, let's say I fought on a Saturday, and then I'll probably fight again 2 months later. Whereas now you're fighting 4 to 6 months later each time, and your camps are a lot longer because obviously I'm traveling and whatnot. So it was different how it is now.
So how did it work then? So back then, or now, you're signed to Frank Roy and you're getting fights every, let's just say, 4 months, something like that.
Yeah.
And
I fight about 3 times a year.
3 times a year.
Yeah.
So those are actual same rates as you see your Anthony Joshua fight or something like that, right?
Yep.
Those fights you get paid a set amount, is it?
Yep.
And from the early doors, you get sales so you get your money from the tickets that you sell.
So it all depends on your deal. Obviously, I can't say what my deal is because it's private.
NDAs and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah. So it all depends on what contract the boxer and manager and promotion company have. Mm-hmm. So a basic contract would be like you get a certain percentage of tickets and you get a salary per fight. So you get the best of both worlds. But that's boxing at like Frank Roy and Eddie Hearn level. But boxing below that, like York Hall shows, local shows, small hall promoters, you get paid based on just your ticket sales. So it all depends, it all varies. It's like anything, there's loads of levels to it.
Yeah.
That's the thing, man. Like the percentage wise of boxers who actually make millions and have a good lifestyle of boxing is like 10%. And out of that 10%, I think it's 2% who actually go clear. That's how small the margins are in this sport, and it just goes to show how hard it is.
How much of a brand do you think impacts, like, for example, Hamzah Sheeraz brand, Anthony Joshua, etc.? How much do you think that impacts the level your career gets to?
Massively. You see, fighters nowadays, I understand where they're coming from because I have that same mentality, right? Where you don't really care about your brand, you're just building you, and your main focus is your boxing. 100% I agree with that. It's true. Your main priority is your boxing. But what you got to understand is boxing now is more of a business than it actually is a sport. Mm-hmm. So
in what sense?
In the sense that like marketing, like having Hamzah Sheeraz as a brand. Do you know what I mean? That's the key now, because listen, you can get endorsements of that. You can go into clothing lines. You can go into merchandise. You have so many different avenues that, God forbid, something was to happen to you tomorrow. Because listen, nothing's guaranteed at the end of the day. You have something to fall back on. And you have a business approach to it as much as it is a sport. But you know what, alhamdulillah, I'm very, very lucky. I'd just like to add here that whole aspect of things, I'm very lucky because I can solely concentrate on my boxing. I have my manager doing his job. I have my promoter doing his job. And I have my team, my father, my uncles, my friends, who take care of all like business side of things, investment side of things, camp side of things. All I have to do is turn up at the gym, 100% train to the best of my ability, and then win on fight night.
Going back to the ticket sales thing, in the beginning, if an up and coming fighter or yourself weren't selling that many tickets and a promoter sees that, do you think there's a still route for them in boxing?
The harsh reality is there isn't, bro. That's why I'm saying I'm very lucky in terms of not having a great amateur career, but the backing of my supporters and my fans and everyone who comes to watch me has been, alhamdulillah, has been great, man. They've almost helped me get to where I am today, and they're still helping me. And that's the harsh reality of it, bro. If you can't sell tickets and you're not a big...
So what you're saying is basically you can be a 10 out of 10 boxer, but if you're not bringing in the money for the company or something, they're not really going to see you as...
That's what I mean. It's more of a business than it is a sport nowadays. It's not... Like, talent is not a big thing. Obviously, it is a big thing when you get to the top, and it gets you to a certain thing. But like you said, if you're not with a big promoter and you're on these small shows, either you get used as an opponent and you go up the hard way, like almost a Rocky way, or you're just gonna get played around.
That's crazy to think, because there's probably so many people like that who are incredible boxers, but they ain't got the fan base.
There's loads, and the sad thing, the harsh reality of it is it's cutthroat as anything. It's a business at the end of the day, and they ain't got a voice at all. Do you know what I mean? So credit to the ones who have come through that way. There's quite a few fighters who have gone that way, but you know, the harsh reality of it is that.
So when did you and your team recognize that then? And how did you build your fan base to conquer that issue?
I've been, you know what it's like in Asian communities, bro. Like we have a lot of family.
Around the whole orphan, basically.
We have a lot of family. We have a lot of friends, and they always bring +1s, +2s. And from day dot, I think my debut, I sold like 300-400 tickets. And
is it? Okay.
Yeah, so alhamdulillah, I was blessed. But obviously now, because I'm fighting on BT Sport and whatnot, my recognition has gone quite big now. And alhamdulillah, I've been blessed. And yeah, that's about it, really, bro.
But there's one thing being a great fighter and someone looking at your shows or paying for that. But then in the time that you're not in the ring, you also got to keep that audience attracted to you, right?
Exactly. And I only understood that about a year ago.
So that's what I'm saying. So what do you do in that time to keep them engaged?
Yeah. You just got to do, like, one thing that's close to my heart is charity work. I do a lot of charity work, and I used to believe in, obviously you do it and you keep it to yourself, but the bigger your support base gets, the more they want to know about you, the more they want to interact with you, they want to
know more about your personal life,
and they want to understand who you are.
Yeah.
So obviously I've understood that now. I get it now, and it just goes into what I was saying about marketing. And obviously the people, obviously my friends and my family, my uncles, and they've explained to me this is how you got to go about things now. Mm-hmm. I believe we're taking the right steps, and inshallah, obviously, we'll be a big brand like Anthony Joshua one day, man.
How much do you think he earns per fight?
Bro, he's gone clear.
in that 2% of gone clear, he's
in that bracket. But you know what you got to rate about them fighters is the fact that they've earned all this money and they're still in the sport, entertaining us, and they're still staying hungry. And when you get that big and you earn that much money, it's almost an obsession. Like, you just think, without boxing, what can you do? Do you know what I mean? That's why, unfortunately, quite a few big fighters, when they stop fighting, like, they turn to drugs and whatnot, because you've got to imagine, put yourself in their shoes. Imagine being like one of the most known boxer 1 year, then a year later, like, you're just doing nothing, and you're not in the limelight no more. It's hard to process, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like any career, isn't it? If you're doing that for X amount of years throughout your whole life, and then one day it stops, you can't just sit there and do nothing. You can either get back into it, or your life is eventually go down.
And this is where being on a obviously business podcast, it makes sense talking about these things, because if you set yourself up financially, investments and whatnot, you're keeping yourself busy no matter what. So I think that's definitely key. Like hopefully when I do earn enough, like talking about millions and whatnot, and I can invest in big financial ventures, I definitely will, inshallah, because like you said, when you retire, it gives you something to do.
So going back to it, when you said like your camps at the moment are costing between 70 and 100 grand,
yeah,
is that paying itself back in the fights?
Just about. But what you got to remember is that's what the investors are there for, to help me be comfortable, whatnot, and help me fund me through these big camps and whatnot. So yeah, that's how that whole aspect of things.
How does it work with the investors though? Because let's just say I'm an investor, yeah. A typical investment into a business is let's just say you buy stocks
and you get a return,
yeah, you get your return in the future on a percentage level, yeah. With boxers, how does that work?
So you see, with boxing, it's flexible. You could have someone who could say it's a passion project where they invest money in you and that's that. That's it. They just want to see you do well, which is very rare, which is almost unheard of. That's
the reality of it.
Yeah, that's to be 100%. Just like it's life, innit? Yeah. Or you could get investors who come on board and they'll say, like, we'll give you XYZ now, and we expect XYZ plus 10%, plus 20% back in 2 years, in 3 years, in 4 years. As you know, it's easier when they understand boxing. Because if you've got someone who don't know nothing about boxing, it gets more difficult because they expect you to jump in a world title fight tomorrow and that's it. Bob's your uncle. Do you know what I mean? But it don't work like that. You understand step by step it works. You need to build as much as you fight for a world title. By the time you get there, you want to have like millions of followers behind you. Yeah, and you want to, like you said, be a brand.
So I'm sure the investors who've invested in you want to remain probably anonymous, right?
Yeah.
But do they understand all that, the fact that it's going to be a journey? It's not, you're not going to get like a £10 million fight tomorrow sort of thing.
Yeah, of course. And that's where obviously my father and my uncles and my whole team come into play, because they deal with that side of things. And obviously I'm in the know for sure. But just the reason why obviously I'm in the know is not because I'm like a big independent boss. No, nothing like that. It's more transparency, because with transparency, you have trust in your team, you have trust in the people you're working with. And in this cutthroat sport, bro, you need trust.
Yeah. I'm going to move on to your financial life later on in this podcast. I'll just break up a bit and ask you some important questions right now.
Go on.
I've been seeing your face all over TikTok recently, yeah? many interviews. You had one come out the other day.
Yeah.
There's this little issue going on between yourself and Amir Khan. And I just want to clarify right now, I don't know Amir Khan. I've never met him. I'm saying this to the audience. So I'm not even going to be biased. I'll probably be devil advocate in the situation. You tell me what is going on with this whole situation. Because for me, looking at a viewer's perspective, I know you, so I know the situation anyway, briefly. But to anyone else, they could look at it like, and no disrespect to yourself, Hamzah's in it to get his name out there using Amir Khan's.
That's how the majority are looking at it.
Exactly.
90%, 99% are looking at that. But the truth of the matter is, bro, it's not a stunt or nothing like that. It's nothing to get anyone's or my recognition up. It's obviously something was said. I reacted to it. I've said what I said, and yeah, man, that's about it, really, bro. That was it.
But where did that all stem from, inspire from?
That's the thing, bro. I could ask you the same question. Honestly, I could ask you the same question. I don't have a clue. Yeah, man, I was just as confused as you are when I saw it. But listen, things get said at the end of the day, and it is what it is. And I've said what I've needed to say on that now. Obviously, I don't want to dwell on it too much because it goes back to what you're saying. People look at me thinking, this kid's just chasing clout. He keeps mentioning his name. He wants to get followers off it. He wants to do this off it. He wants to do that of it. Listen, at the end of the day, what I said has been said now, and see what happens going forward.
Well, like everyone says in TikTok comments as well, obviously you can't help but check that, yeah. People saying that, Amir Khan paved the way for Asian boxing, which I'm not going to discredit for. He probably did in some way, some form. Yeah. And you said in your interview that he didn't really do much for you, open doors for you. Why is that? You think that?
Do you know what it is, bro? I don't mean that disrespectfully. That's the thing. I don't mean it disrespectfully. It's just how it is. Like I always said, my pro contract, my first coach got for me, and obviously my dad went through it, looked through it, and we signed it. And that's it, really. It's been like my family and my immediate team and immediate friends who have helped me get where I am today. And obviously, Allah, 100%. Is the main obviously provider of that, but it's been that simple. It's that simple. Been grafting, been working hard, still grafting, still working hard, still got a long way to go in the sport. I think a lot of people when they hear me and talk about these things, I think the kid thinks he's made it. Reality thing, I don't think I made it. I know how far I've got to go. I know how long I've got to go. I know there's loads of experiences I've got to go through, a lot of controversy I've got to go through, even though I've been through a lot already.
Well, have you been through more controversy than...
Yeah, like this time last year when I had the Bradley Skeet fight.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I had loads of controvery with that. But it's a blessing, bro. Alhamdulillah, it's a blessing in disguise, because a year on later, I've had 3 fights from that position, from that fight. As you can see in my performances, I've come on leaps and bounds, and everything I did wrong in that fight, I've learnt from. And outside the ring, I believe hopefully a bigger, more known. Still trying to get more known, obviously. But yeah, man, it was definitely, that whole thing a year ago was a blessing in disguise for where I am today.
Have you tried reaching out to Khan or anything?
No, nothing, bro. I think I'm blocked on everything, to be fair.
Is it?
Yeah. But like I said, listen, it is what it is. We'll see how it resolves itself in the future.
Well, you offered him out for a fight, innit?
Yeah, man. Yeah. But really and truly, the reality of that happening, I don't know what it is. But yeah, like I said, let's see how it plays out.
So that whole thing with Bradley Skeet, what was that all about? Was it everyone, because I think everyone at the time was saying you were cheating or something like that?
Yeah,
or
no,
what was it?
When it was cheating, obviously, there was controversy of how I knocked him out. It was obviously a bit controversial for whatnot. But off the back of that, man, the after effects of it and the abuse I got off it, bro, was nuts. Like, it was crazy. I was getting called every name under the sun. You name it, I've been called it, bro. I've been called it.
What did that do for you, your mental health? That must have, because you can't have it take 2 weeks. You can have a bounce off you and be like, it is what it is, or you can let it get into
This was like almost like a fine line, you know. It was I had to find that balance in between, because it was hard to deal with in terms of, like, it wasn't stopping. Like, it was getting irritating. Like, every day you'd get a message like, you this, you that. And I remember the reason why it wasn't so bad, because when my first camp, when I come back to London, and I'd done the 2 weeks before the fight, we was training over at Hoddesdon Boxing Club. I remember parking our cars there, and we was coming back after the gym. So we come back and there was a note on my car, and it said, "Don't park here, you packy." And I was like, what was the need for that? Do you know what I mean? What was the need for that? And that
how did that person know that it was a Pakistani driving the car?
Bro, because I'll be honest with you, because the cars that turned up there and the way obviously we was and I think the way we looked.
Did they see you as well?
Yeah, obviously whoever it was, I don't know who it was. Obviously, jumped to the conclusion in what we was.
They must have seen some,
but they weren't wrong. But
cars outside with Pakistani plates on it.
Yeah, private plates.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
But yeah, no, listen, it is what it is, and so I reverted back to that. I thought, you know what, how am I gonna like deal with all this name calling, all this racial abuse, all this abuse in general, all these threats as well. I knew half of them were empty anyway. No one's gonna do nothing, but it's just the thought of it. I know of being a bit on edge. Like, it does affect you mentally a little bit, but alhamdulillah, like I said, going back to what you say, and trauma shapes a man. It took me back to that. How I was then and how I'm now mentally, being strong, being focused and everything.
So are you a big advocate of mental health then when someone's suffering or something like that?
Yeah, of course, bro. Of course. Like, anyone suffering, just hit me up. Send me a message. I'll do my best to help. We'll find a way we can help, whatever way that may be. And yeah, we'll get down to the bottom of it, whatever the problem is. And if I can help you short term, long term, or if we can if off the back of it we become mates for the rest of our lives, then happy days, bro.
So going back to the financial things, right?
Yep.
Being 23, you said, yeah?
Yep. When
would you say it would be like that? I don't want to obviously make you think about all this stuff, but retirement age.
Yeah. In an ideal world, after I've turned pro at 18, I'll probably, I'd say around the 33 to 35 mark.
That's young.
Yeah, that's in an ideal world. Listen, I ain't trying to get my head punched in like for my whole life. Do you know what I mean? I don't mind like half of it or a quarter of it, but not my whole life.
What's the average age for a boxing retire?
It all depends. I think around that. But you got to remember, that's the hard bit, because at that age is probably, that's when you get the like enticing money, depending on how big you are and how well you've done. And plus, when they hear you want to retire, that's when the promoters start coming to you and offering you their young fighters, because they almost look at you as a gatekeeper. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So if their young fighters beat you, then they take that limelight. So you got to know when to get in and you got to know when to get out. But listen, at the end of the day, me as a boxer, I'm working hard for not to be well known. Nothing like that. Obviously to win world titles, but at the same time to secure a financial future for my family. When I say family, I mean my mum, my dad, my brothers, my sisters, and family and friends and everything. That's what really I'm in this sport for, because every boxer has a tough upbringing and where they come from and what's fueling that fire. Do you know what I mean? So
would you say that motivates you more so than titles and all the accolades?
Yeah, I'd say it definitely does. At the end of the day, listen, winning a world title is great and everything. It is what it is. You get to the top and you got to remember, getting to the top, there's a lot more responsibilities that come with it. I'm someone who wants to obviously win world titles, but I want to inspire the youth and the new generation. And obviously it's easier said than done. But if you look at someone like Khabib, the way he's gone about things, the way he's an advocate for Islam, the way he's an advocate for just the youth in general, really. Do you know what I mean? If you look up to someone, you look at him, you look at the likes of Joshua, you look at the likes of like the David Beckhams, all that. You see that professional branded and the way they've gone about. They are people who I look up to and who I'd love to be like.
So what does your investment plan look like then? What does your retirement plan look like? What are you going to do when the day you stop fighting?
Yeah.
Is it going to be a case of there's no money coming in anymore?
Yeah.
Or what have you done to set something up?
It all depends on how my career plans out. Inshallah, let's say I go to top, I dominate, I've won multiple world titles, got loads of money in the bank.
The 2% gone clear, basically.
Exactly, in the 2%, in the gone clear percentage. I think I'll just obviously see what the team and business see what the team have invested in for me and what my financial advice would be at the time, and just go from there, really. Because like I said, obviously we're talking about it now because we're on the podcast and it's a business podcast, but me, the way I go about it, I just literally just focus on my moment. I said to you, I go focus on my boxing and let everyone in my team handle their certain departments.
So how do you decide who's on the team then?
It's very simple, bro. It's very simple. I've literally only limited myself to about two friends, and the one who calls the shots really is my old man. He obviously overlooks everything. He decides everything, and but not in a way where it's like I said this and that's it. It's been, and we all discuss. We all get together. Like I said, transparency is a massive key factor in our team, because, like I said, without transparency in anything in business, there's no trust. Do you know what I mean? There's no trust. And yeah, trust is a massive key factor.
So you've had a solid team,
yep,
and you've got a solid team right now, yeah.
And
your dad being like almost like the top of the pyramid of that team.
Yeah,
he's been with you by your side, obviously since you were born. Yeah. But have you had any times where he hasn't been around?
Yeah, there has been a few times actually. Obviously, when I was growing up, I think there was two or three times he went inside prison for whatever he done at the time, and these were times of growing up where you almost need your father figure. You know what I mean?
How old would you have been?
I remember the first time I was must have been about young. I was young. Like, this is like toddler age. Second time I was 15, 16. So that's like, the age where you become conscious of things around you. You become conscious of what's wrong and what's right. And I remember these time was like almost the pinnacle of my short amateur career that I did have. And I remember it was tough, man, because I remember some days I couldn't even like afford getting like simple things like the bus the train to gyms and whatnot. So sometimes I had to miss it or whatnot, or sometimes I have to even walk it. Do you know what I mean? Or get a lift somehow.
But you're the eldest son as well, right?
The eldest son, yeah. So
how did you didn't have a father figure at the time then, being 15, 16 years old. That's like I said, when someone develops into a man, they usually go off the back of how their dads are.
Yeah.
What did you do? Who was your father figure, your male figure that you looked up to?
Did I have one? No, not really, not at the time, and I've never even thought of it until he just asked me. But did I have one? No, not at the time. It was more like, even though I was young and not like mature, I still had to understand that you have to get through these things. No one's out there feeling sorry for you. Yes, you might get help from family members, but listen, the harsh reality of it is no one cares. No one really cares. You just got to make it happen. And I think when my mum, obviously she was there, she helped a lot through the times, and seeing her obviously upset and whatnot, it was at the time it's hard to see. Do you know what I mean? It's hard to see. Obviously you don't show it because it's something you want to keep in you and almost use it now to this day as a fuel to my fire, as a reason why I'm doing what I'm doing. So yeah, I'd say my mum helped a lot as well, man.
So that time when you were 15 and your dad was inside, how long for?
It was about, I think, 2 years, I think.
So what, he came out when you were 15 or he came out when you were like 17?
No, it was 15, 17 to come, because it was my last amateur fight. I remember he was there for my last amateur fight, and then we signed. Then obviously he was there when I signed my pro contract and whatnot. So yeah, man.
What was that first interaction like when you'd come out?
No, it was calm, because I used to go and see him. I used to
Okay, so you used to see him in the regular time.
He was in Belgium, so I used to go there.
He's in Belgium?
Yeah, he was in Belgium, so I used to remember the trips we used to do were mad, man. I remember with my uncle Hazy and my auntie, who unfortunately passed away from COVID. It's quite funny. My uncle, my mum, and me used to get up at like 3:30 in the morning to catch the 5 o'clock ferry from Dover to
Belgium.
Yeah, to Calais. Innit?
Yeah,
to
and then
Calais.
also drive to Belgium. Yeah,
And then we used to drive from there to Belgium, and then we used to get there for about just about 9-10ish, and we used to do
9-10ish. You lot must have been sending it. Basically.
We used to do that journey once a month, and I remember that I used to proper look forward to that as a kid. I used to like remember getting up, and I couldn't wait to go and whatnot. So yeah, once a month we used to do that, and it was alright. The first interaction when he come out was actually he picked me up after one of my amateur fights. I won the London title at that time, and him and my uncle come and picked me up. I still remember that to this day. And
why do you remember that specifically?
Because obviously when he come out, and that was the last time.
No, but did you know he was out when he was there?
Yeah, because I remember after the fight, like, your dad's coming to pick you up. I was like, what? Is he out? It's like, happy days, man.
No, so that's what I'm saying. So you didn't know he was out?
No, and then after the fight, and then that was it, man. From that day to now, we've come on leaps and bounds, alhamdulillah.
In that time, what was your mum doing for a living?
We was living on benefits, bro. We was on benefits, and
how many siblings you got?
It was me, my younger brother, my younger sister, and my older sister.
So that must have been...
There was a few of us.
A lot of pressure for your mum then.
Yes, bro. Yeah, it was. And obviously, when it comes to being strong and being motivated and being solid, I get a lot of motivation from her, from seeing what I saw and whatnot. So, yeah, man. But listen, at the end of the day, it's life. What Allah had planned for me. So, I'm grateful for it. Like I said, blessing in disguise, and it's what I use to fuel me now to this day.
I done a podcast with a guy recently, the most popular podcast, and he said, trauma shapes a man.
Yes.
So that trauma that you'd gone through, would you say that's shaped you the way you are now?
100%, 100,000,000%. That's very true. You know, yeah. Like I said, who I am today and who I'll be tomorrow, who I'll be next month, next year, in 10 years' time, will always revert back to that trauma. Do you know what I mean? But when I say trauma, I don't mean like it's affected me. I've used it in a positive manner. I've used it in a positive way. And the way I've used it, inshallah, will aid me in becoming a world champion.
So your old man is basically the one who's deciding who's on the team?
Yeah, basically, yeah. It's not, like I said, if I've my mates on board and I said they're with me, he understands. He goes, yeah, no worries. You know what I mean? As long as they're not total hanger-oners. Do you know what I mean? You get, in this game, you get a lot of leeches. Do you know
Have you had that? Any sort of leeches?
Yeah, there's been a few. Obviously, can't name names and whatnot. But
but I can imagine, like, in a case where, you know, as your fame's growing, your boxing record's growing, your money's growing, everything around you is going up and up and up and up, right?
Yeah.
You might have people, let's just say from school days or something like that, you know, yo, Hamzah, what you saying? Long time sort of thing. Like, how's life?
I was going to say, if anyone knows, you know. Innit? Do you know what I mean? If anyone knows, you know. Like,
that's how the game goes.
Yeah, exactly, man. It is.
But how do you react to that?
You can't take it to heart. You gotta be nice to everyone, treat everyone equally, treat everyone the same. Obviously, you get some people who try like attaching themselves to you and saying, I can do this and I can do that, when they can't do nothing, is the truth. But you just gotta take it all with a pinch of salt. You know what I mean? You gotta take it with a pinch of salt. I think if you asked me this question a few years ago, I'd be like, nah, forget that. Like, they can go do one, this, that, but you just gotta treat everyone equally at the end.
You said in the beginning of this podcast or before off the podcast that I can ask you anything.
Yes.
So I'm gonna ask you a question right now. What's it like for you and the girls then?
Do you know what it is?
As, you know, being in a position, like, as they're going up and up and up.
Yeah, do you know what it is? Obviously, you get, when I say get, I mean the interest, that's the key word here, the interest of...
Before you answer that, let me ask you, are your parents, you're Pakistani, right?
Yeah.
Are your parents onto you about marriage and all that?
No, not at all, bro, not at all. They understand that I'm going to get married once my career's done. Once I've looked after my own family before,
so they don't pressure you
before I'm able to look after anybody else's family.
Okay.
No, there's no pressure like that. My old man was a professional sportsman himself, in it, at the end of the day, so he understands what it takes, what it requires. Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying I'm not saying to anyone who's obviously watching this podcast, a young lad might be out there. He might have someone he wants to get married to. He might be
dead for a
No, I'm not saying that. Everyone's different. So you just got to find that equal. You got to find that balance. You got to find what works for you. What works for you. Obviously, if you look up to somebody, take a little bit from them, but understand that you are your own person. That's one thing I'd always say. You are your own person. I understand you have role models. I understand you have an ideal world of what certain things want to be like and what you'd love them to be like, but you got to understand life doesn't work like that. Life doesn't work like that. And the best thing is to do is to be your own person, be your own man, woman, whatever it may be. And just go about things how you'd go about them, how you want to go about them, and just let life experiences take you through.
So then how do you deal with it then?
Deal with?
You're definitely media trained.
No, I'm not.
That's throwing the whole question.
Yeah, no. I'm not. I've never had media training, bro. Like, never had media training.
All right. So how many girls DM you then?
Do you know what it is? I'm not gonna say how many because I don't want to sound like a total knob. To be fair, but my when I say team,
main question is, do you pay attention to it and all that sort of stuff?
No, not at all. No, and if I did, you'd see me like
slipping.
Yeah, you'd see it in the results. You know what I mean? In your results and how you are, how you go about certain things, and how focused you are, or how not focused you are. So yeah, man.
So you must have people who deal with your Instagram, your social media management and stuff like that. They must come across DMs from girls.
Yeah. They come across all DMs, you know what I mean? And the ones with the girls, obviously, they see who the 1010s are. No, I'm joking. I'm messing around. No, they deal with everything, really. Like I said, my main focus is in the ring, and that's about it.
Hey, no, actually, I want to ask you this. Is this true, yeah?
Go on. Oh, you can ask me, yeah?
Yeah. Is it actually true that, you got to be celibate before your fight?
Like I said, everyone's different, innit? Everyone's different.
So that basically means you have sex during your training camp?
No. Like, it all depends, right? It all depends on how, like I said, how you have as a fighter. I remember this goes back to what I was saying about trusting yourself, and not hearing rumors and not looking up to people or hearing certain things. You gotta just see how everything works for yourself.
Yeah, but it was like with the whole it just brings me back to the moment in my head, of Conor Benn and Chris Eubank not press conference, face or glove, what's it called?
Yeah, the
gloves are off.
Gloves are off, yeah.
And Eubank said something like, Jake Paul gets 1 week, you get 2 weeks. Yeah. Normal fighters get 8 weeks, so he's not at the bottom of the barrel.
That's a prime example of someone who's figured it out for himself.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So he's figured it out to such a level where he knows how to go about certain things depending on his opponent. That's what you call an athlete, innit?
I mentioned Jake Paul there, yeah? What's your whole take on this YouTube boxing? I know I asked you in the first podcast, but it's become such a long way since then.
Huge.
Yeah, and you see Jake Paul, rumours how he got paid about 30M or something like that for his last fight. KSI set up his own Misfits boxing.
Yeah.
You obviously, Temper as well, so he had his fight recently as well.
Yeah.
What's your whole take on that then? Because I know back then, I will quote unquote your answer from what I can remember.
Yeah. I was against it.
Yeah.
Fully against it.
And now?
Now, I've been swayed. I've been swayed a bit more. I'll tell you why, because I've seen Jake Paul, I've seen the way he trains, I've seen the way he's been going about his whole approach to becoming a professional boxer. He's not took it lightly. Everything a top level elite fighter does or would do, he does. Do you know what I mean? He does, and what I rate about him most is the way he's helping young fighters come through, giving young fighters or fighters who need the platform and a pay raise. He's giving that to him. That's what, and these are actual boxers he's signing them up to his management company and getting them on there. And the fighters, obviously the YouTube fighter I've trained alongside in the gym, Temper, the way he goes about it is very good as well. And do you know what I mean? He trains like how a pro fighter would train.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Being in LA, you must train with a lot of celebrities.
Yeah, loads, man. Especially these YouTube boxers as well. Like him. There's I forgot the Alex Wasabi.
Yeah, Alex Wasabi.
Him. I see they all spar down the gyms over there. So when you see it, you see him putting in the graft. And then when you got these other ones who come in who are out of shape, who just take the mick, I think it is a bit of a liberty, to be fair. But that's why at the end of the day, they get knocked out and the top ones don't.
But with the whole YouTube boxing stuff, do you think it's fair on the money they get paid? For example, Jake Paul getting paid millions, and you've been at this for over 10 years now. Yeah. And do you get paid around that sort of same money?
Not at all, bro. No, I wish I did.
Do you know what I'm saying? So
but I think what you got to respect here, is the fact that they've got their following, they've put in their graft, and they've got their loyal followers from doing YouTube.
Yeah, exactly how you're saying, like how you got to build your brand now.
So what they're doing is they're bringing revenue to boxing.
Yeah.
whatever they get paid for the promoters, and they're probably doubling. They're having a field day. Do you know what I mean? So in that aspect, you can't really take anything away from them because they can turn around and say, hey, like you've got 50k followers, I've got like 300 million followers or 10 million. It's crazy, isn't it? So
and it probably helps you as well because there's more eyes coming into boxing now, especially all these kids. So that means, they could look into boxing, start looking at Hamzah Sheeraz.
Exactly.
I'm a fan of him now as well.
All it takes is a big fighter or a fighter who ain't got that much recognition to fight on, like let's say Jake Paul's undercard in a co-main event, have a solid performance, bro. Like you've got all them eyes on you now. So hats off to Jake Paul.
Being in your camp in America, why don't you fight in America?
I'd love to fight in America, bro. I'd love to fight in America. That's definitely the plan one day.
Is it not something that you organise? It's
But
just
that's
literally
what
down
your
to
promoters and what opportunity they give you. If I said it, I'm sure they'd make it happen on an undercard and whatnot.
Who would
but
you
I think
fight?
my main focus at the minute is to conquer the UK at the minute. Just, get my following up, build it up slowly, and then just conquer here first before I move anywhere else.
Touching on Eubank, yeah?
Yep.
You're same weight as him, right?
Yeah, 160.
So
he's number one at the weight in the division in the UK.
So is that something that you'd look up to, that sort of fight?
Yeah, 100%.
Obviously, Conor Ben was meant to fight him, but things happened there.
Yeah, no, because the Eubank Jr., that's someone who I've mentioned in before a previous interview, someone I'd love to fight. Someone of his caliber, and beating someone like him would just rocket me to number one in the UK and even get me even bigger on the world scene. You'd get noticed. But
how do you think that fight would go though? Because he is a solid performer.
He's a beast. He's definitely a beast. But I reckon I've got the tools to beat him, and the tools to beat him is very simple. Do you know what I mean? It's very simple, and I believe I've got the tools to do so. So if I do get the opportunity one day, I'd take the opportunity with both hands.
It's also a mental game as well, right?
Yeah, of course, but especially with him.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So how do you counter his mental game? Because he got into Conor Ben under his skin fully, right?
With Conor Ben, he's a very fiery fighter. He's a fiery character.
Yeah.
He gets in, he gets stuck in, but I'm quite the opposite. I'm chilled. I take things with a pinch of salt. So it'd be interesting to see if he could get in my head or, wind me up. I mean, he definitely tries his best. And obviously, like I said, when I talk about experiences and whatnot, and I got loads to come, I've got all this to experience yet. You know what I mean? Someone shit talking and someone
you learn all that sort of stuff,
who gets
especially
physical
in
before the
school.
fight or outside the ring. So these are all the things I've still got to learn yet.
Off the back of Jake Paul,
Yep.
he was meant to fight Tommy Fury, or there was something around there.
Yeah.
Tommy Fury, I don't know if he backed out, he generally wasn't allowed into America or something like that.
Yeah.
You being in the UK, Tommy Fury being in the UK.
Yeah, same promoter.
Is it same promoter as well?
Same Frank Warren, isn't he? Yeah.
Okay, so then, what are you saying? Would you do that?
He's 100%, bro, 100%. He's 2 weight divisions heavier than me, but listen, why not? Who knows if that opportunity did come? Obviously, he's got a bigger following than me and whatnot. But if he wants to get in there with a real fighter, I'm here.
That's the thing, though. A lot of these fighters probably think that because they got a bigger following than you, ego might get involved with the thing. Why do I want to fight?
That's what they dropped, didn't
you?
they? Nowadays it's a followers game.
Yeah,
that's all it's about. Like, how many followers has he got? How many followers has he got? It's like going back to what we were saying about the actual talent. Are people recognizing it? Not so much nowadays, but it's more of a business and all about who can generate the most money, which I'm not against. All fairness, I'm not saying it's wrong and whatnot, but if I keep working hard and I keep doing my thing, my name will be up there.
So your fights, they're sick because you end up knocking people out in like 2 rounds,
Yeah.
What fight do you think makes most business sense and also gets you to showcase your talent? Let's just say going 6 to 8 rounds.
What do you mean, opponent-wise?
Yeah.
Okay, a fight that showcase your talent would be fighting one of the world champions, like one of the big world champions, and one who if you beat, you get the most recognition off the back of being a good boxer. But if we're talking
Amir Khan?
whoever. But if we're talking business sense here, it could be. It's like I said, it's one of the most followers. It's one of the most recognition via his followers, via social media, not boxing at all. So I suppose a good thing here, which YouTube has done, is created another avenue which boxers could potentially take if they get lucky enough to get in the ring with one of these YouTube boxers. But it's highly unlikely because at the end of the day, they can all talk shit, these YouTubers, but they will never really fight real boxers. Like, have you seen it yet? The closest one to do it is Jake Paul.
Would you fight any of the YouTubers?
Yeah, I'd if I had the opportunity, I'd.
But don't you think that would put you in the YouTube category boxer?
It would and it could, but if it made financial sense, then it definitely makes sense.
Yeah, it probably 100% would make financial sense, but then you got to look at the after effect of it of like.
I'd like try my best to keep both avenues open.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? So you go to a YouTube fight, do a real one, go back to a YouTube fight, just to keep your name, in both pies.
Who do you think wins out of KSI and Jake Paul?
Jake Paul.
Is it all day long?
Easy.
Why?
Easy. If
you said that like you ain't got the confidence in KSI to even box like that.
No, I haven't. Because Jake Paul, if you see him every fight, bro, he's getting better and better. So is KSI. He's getting better and better. But Jake Paul,
But arguably, I'm going to play devil's advocate here again, yeah?
Yep.
Jake Paul's opponents, they're like freaking retired.
No, but they've been better than KSI's opponents. Anderson Silva, he can box a bit. He can, and this is coming from a boxer. He can box a bit. He's not totally shot. And even, who was the guy? Tyron Woodley. He sparked him out as well, and he can box a bit. These are actual UFC fighters. These ain't YouTube boxers that he's fighting. I know it's not as good as an actual boxer, but they're still combat fighters.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So watching these fights like Jake Paul, Anderson Silva, and if like you being a boxer, do you not see any chance of these being rigged?
Not really.
Because that's what everyone claims.
I know everyone claims it, but it's hard, man. It's to get like knocked out the way these guys are getting knocked out. It's hard to rig it. How's it hard to rig it? If we had a fight, and let's just say I paid you. No, because the way these guys are getting knocked out is not a way you get knocked out if it's been rigged. Like, Tyron Woodley got sparked out. Do you know what I mean? And the Anderson Silva fight, bro, he was there to win. The way he was going about things, he was there to win. Maybe judging wise, it could be a bit biased because a tight fight would favour who brings in more money. But yeah, that's the only way. But I don't see any of his fights so far being rigged. No. I mean, some people out there would disagree with me, but I mean, everyone's got opinion in it.
When's your next fight, Hamzah?
My next fight will probably be July time, probably be summertime because I'm just having a little bit of time off now, doing a bit of charity work, getting things together. Like you said, focusing on becoming more of a brand, focusing on everything outside the ring. So yeah, inshallah, July time, bro.
So what's your daily routines look like now?
Now it's just
I don't see you on PS online anymore. So,
yeah, I jumped off a long time ago. You might see my little brother on it though. But yeah, we'll just wake up, go to the gym or walk the dog, meetings, networking. Just getting about, bro. Getting about, doing the right things, staying focused, and just learning.
So if your fight would be in July, then you'd be going for camping, let's just say like March, April time?
Yeah, March, or just after Ramzan.
Yeah.
Just probably day after Eid, I'll fly back to America and then I'll do another grueling.
You done your last Ramadan in America, innit? Or?
No, the one before that.
Okay.
The one before that. My first actual Ramzan I've ever done was last year. Full 30 days or whatever it was. That was my first one I've ever done.
Why is it your first one?
Because...
What sort of haram?
No. Financially, the ones before that, I wasn't in a position where I was able to take the month off. Whereas, alhamdulillah, like now, slowly getting in that position with the help of investors and whatnot, where I can afford to take the month off and really, really get in touch with religion.
Okay, fair play. Hamzah, I think we're going to end it on that note. So I appreciate you coming on CEOCAST.
Thank you very much. Thank you for giving me the platform. And just like to say, anyone, like people who are obviously watching this, I've seen your growth and the way you've done it and gone about things has been brilliant, bro. So congratulations.
Appreciate that. Likewise, bro. Like I said, we were on. I think you were there. I want to say 10th episode or something like that.
Yeah.
It's no longer there, but that's much better conversation than that one. So if anyone remembers that one, let us know in the comments. But Hamzah, I appreciate your time, bro.
I'll shake this hand, but I've got to use this hand. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Cheers.
God, love. I'll catch you lot next Sunday on the next episode of CEOCAST. Peace.